Dad fixed a stranger's motorbike, unaware she was a billionaire. My father was a simple man. Not wealthy, not famous, but with a heart of gold. He always said, if you can help, do it. Don't expect anything in return. That was his way of life. We lived in a small town, where everybody knew everybody, and Dad was the kind of person who would always lend a hand without hesitation. One scorching summer afternoon, we were driving down the rural highway when Dad noticed a young woman standing beside a broken-down motorbike on the roadside. She looked frustrated and was visibly struggling with something under the seat. Without missing a beat, Dad pulled over. "Looks like someone could use a hand," he said to me, before grabbing his toolbox from the trunk and walking over to her. "Need some help?" he asked kindly. The woman looked up, clearly uncertain. "I think the battery's dead. Or maybe something else. I'm not really sure." "Let me take a look," Dad said. He crouched beside the bike, examining it with practiced eyes. He asked no questions about who she was or why she was there. He just started checking the wiring, the spark plug, and the fuel lines. While he worked, she stood nearby, visibly relieved but still curious. "Do you do this often? Stop for strangers?" Dad chuckled. "Only when their bikes cry out for help." After 20 minutes, he got the motorbike running again. The engine gave a healthy roar, and her face lit up. "Wow. Thank you so much. I don't even know what to say." "Just promise me one thing," he said, wiping his hands. "Help someone else if you ever get the chance." She nodded slowly. "I will. I promise." She climbed on the bike, gave him one last thankful look, and disappeared down the road in a cloud of dust. We drove off, never thinking much of it. For Dad, it was just another day. But something about that encounter stuck with me. A week later, early in the morning, a large truck pulled up outside our home. A team of workers unloaded materials and started construction next to our garage. We had no idea what was going on. Dad thought it was a mistake. By the end of the week, a state-of-the-art service garage stood beside our modest home. Inside was every tool and piece of equipment a mechanic could ever dream of. On the door hung a simple note. "To the man who helps without asking why. From someone who will never forget." It turns out the woman was a billionaire, founder of a major tech company and a quiet philanthropist. She had been traveling undercover, trying to find people who embodied genuine kindness. Dad never made a big deal about it. He continued his work, same as before, but now with better tools and a slightly bigger smile. Word spread, and people came from all over just to see the place and shake his hand. His lesson to me was always clear: real kindness doesn't ask for recognition. It just shows up. That was Dad. The summer rolled into fall, and the story of Dad's garage continued to grow. People began stopping by, not just for car repairs, but to talk, to share stories, and to witness a living example of kindness. He never turned anyone away. Whether it was a flat tire or a word of encouragement, he gave freely. One day, a local journalist came by and asked to interview him. Dad refused the spotlight. "I'm not the story," he said. "The story is what happens when people look out for each other." Despite his wishes, the article came out, titled "The Mechanic with a $1 Million Heart." After that, donations started coming in, unsolicited. Tools, equipment, even scholarships for local youth to study mechanics under Dad's wing. He started hosting weekend workshops for kids from underprivileged backgrounds. "If I can teach a kid to fix an engine, I can teach him he's worth something," he used to say. Those Saturdays became legendary. Kids would come early, grease their hands, and learn more than mechanics. They learned purpose. One Saturday, the woman returned. This time, she came in a modest car, no security detail. She watched from a distance as Dad guided a 10-year-old through replacing brake pads. When the session ended, she approached him. "You probably don't remember me," she said. Dad smiled. "Motorbike. Hot afternoon. Bad battery. You kept your promise." She laughed. "I did. In more ways than you know." They sat and talked for an hour. She told him how his kindness had changed her, not just her view of people, but how she ran her company. "We've started a new foundation," she said, "to find and empower invisible heroes. You're the first." He tried to refuse again, but she insisted. A plaque was installed outside the garage, home of the first invisible hero. Years went by. Dad aged, but the fire in his eyes never dimmed. His hands grew slower, but his heart stayed quick. Even when he couldn't repair engines anymore, he still greeted people, told stories, and reminded every visitor, help without asking. Love without reason. That's the way. When he passed, the entire town came out. People flew in from across the country. The billionaire woman gave a eulogy, holding back tears. He fixed more than engines. He repaired faith. Now, the garage stands as a community center. Free repairs. Free classes. Free advice. His chair is still there, by the entrance. And above it, a sign. Dad's Place, where kindness lives. That was Dad. And that will always be Dad.